Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us. Thank you for joining us for yet another exciting episode of Check-In. And today we have a very interesting panel, and we're going to discuss a matter that concerns guys that are fresh from campus and they have just launched into the corporate world. How exactly are they supposed to navigate this new reality that has just dawned on them? Maneno ya kupatiwa pocket money na wazazi inaishia hapo. So where do these guys go from there? So I'm going to introduce the panel that's on my right. It's a lady and a gentleman that are well known here in House of Transformation, Nairobi. But to many of you, just for your sake, we're going to have them introduce themselves. Karibuni sana Meg and Bwana Peter. So Meg, please introduce yourself to us. Tell us who you are and basically what you do.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Margaret Ngei. I am born again. I am married to a wonderful husband, and we're blessed with 2 children. By profession, I'm an aeronautical engineer, and I've been so blessed to be able to work in the field that I studied.
Wonderful. Bwana Peter, karibu.
Thank you. Yes.
So tell us, who is Peter Mahinda?
Peter Mahinda is a working man, family man, born again, married to 1 wife, with 3 children, and I work in the finance industry for quite a number of years now. I'll not say how many, but like Meg here, I'm also blessed to have been working in the area in which I studied.
Wonderful. Now, Meg, you had mentioned your line of career before we started the recording. 20 years ago, that would have been something that is unheard of, to be a career picked by a woman. Naona Mahinda is anakubaliana, yes. So how exactly did you as a lady go about to be, and you said you're passionate about it, how exactly did you go about being passionate about aeronautical engineering as a lady?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank the people who came before us, who started making the change so that all careers are fluid. You can now do any career of choice. There is no gender-based roles when it comes to work. I was actually passionate about aircraft as a whole, but through mentors, I was able to go into something more interesting, because I found out very early I cannot be behind the desk jobs. So the best thing to do would be out in the field, working on these aircrafts and doing all the checks. And I am very happy about it. So it became a passion that turned into a job. And I'm so grateful for that.
We've had guys who the parent wants them to be a doctor, na yeye anataka kukuwa DJ. Yeah, so which one weighs heavier? One, because there are 2 dynamics here. It's the parent who pays the fees. So anaweza kuwa hiyo ndio inaweza kuwa their their bargaining power with that. And there's the child who has maybe an idea and a vision of their passion and where they want to be headed in life. So how do you get to marry the 2? Should one weigh heavier on the other, or how do you navigate all that, Bwana Peter?
Wow, that is a very good question. As a parent, I think our role is mainly to guide, because a child's career can manifest itself in different ways. Either at a very young age, you can see someone's interests, someone's strengths, someone's weaknesses, or it can come later in life. What the biggest challenge for us as parents is, and also thinking back to our parents, is trying to live your dreams through your child. You must be a lawyer. Lawyers are very powerful. You must be a doctor. No, I think our role is, it's 50-50. You can listen to what your interests, what the child's interests are, but also just be there to play a guiding role to see, is it something that is sustainable or will actually play to, is it caused by peer pressure or is it actually caused by a genuine interest from the child? Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Meg, mzazi ali react aje to this, to your idea of aeronautical engineering, and just to help shed light on how exactly a parent and child should go about this decision?
I was lucky than most. My mom was not really strict on what she wanted us to be. So when I told them my interest is aircraft, they actually looked out for people who are in the field and they're able to guide us even which school to go to. So you see, I was luckier than most. But what I can say I appreciate about how she went about it is she asked me, fine, you want to be an electrical engineering, where are you going next? Not just the school, what is your plan? As in, do you know where you go after you go for the course? So I think that's the most important question a parent should ask. So they tell you, yes, I want to be a fashion designer. Fine, we appreciate that. But which schools do that? After school, where do you see yourself going with that course? You see, if you ask that kind of question to the child, you actually get them thinking. So that it's a decision based on information.
So, Bwana Peter, let's say now there is a child who amesha pita that stage of making the decision. They've already gone through campus, or they are in their third year or fourth year and they're feeling, this is not the direction I would like to head. So what options or what kind of counsel can you give such a person? Or they've already even finished. Now wamesema ati degree maybe ni ya mzazi, or they just feel like maybe the area of finance, it's not my thing. How do you advise someone to just to navigate that space that they're in at that moment?
Okay. Again, it depends on the stage at which someone is having this discussion and reflections. If you've just gotten into campus, say in your first year in a public university in Kenya, you have a window to change courses and pursue something that is of your interest. They allow that. If it's towards the end, I would very much encourage the person to first complete your studies. And the reason is, even if you want to pursue a job outside your area of study, the job market now allows for that. My first job in finance was in an audit firm, one of the big 4 audit firms, and we had food scientists there. We had anthropologists there doing auditing. We had mechanical engineers doing auditing. And in fact, we came to there's a study that engineers make better auditors because they're more analytical. So you may have studied one thing, but the skill set you've acquired you can use that to another area of your interest. Yes, so it depends on where you are. If you've just started and you feel you can switch your course, then do that. But if it's very end or you've already completed, do not worry, just take the next step to that particular area of interest. Focus on the skills and the capabilities you have learned. Again, you're not just getting a degree, you are building certain skills and certain capabilities. So if you've done engineering, engineers are known to be the most analytical people. They can do financial analysis sometimes even better than finance people. So it depends on the skills that you've gathered that you can transfer into other areas. And I think the education system now is also thinking more about that, the skills, not just the theory that you're gaining. Yeah.
So let's escalate this a bit higher. Meg, do I do it for the passion or for the money? If I am faced with those two. For instance, now like mimi sasa niko na watoto. And the thing maybe that I'm passionate about is not really giving me that check that I want. So do I just go and do something that is just redundant, inanipatia stress, but it brings in the money and I put my passion aside? How do I go about that?
Wow, that is a very loaded question. You see, people tend to think you need to separate the two, passion and the money. You necessarily don't have to. Because, for example, if you're passionate about something, you will find time. Okay? So now you get a chance to work. Money is a very powerful tool. So if responsibilities have come already, it means you have to be really straight about what you're doing. So you have to think, can my passion be eaten? No. So where do I go from here? I myself personally, I think you should go for the money if you can. Turn it, go for your passion. Or make your passion make money. Because sometimes you can pursue your passion, and then it becomes, the need to achieve becomes so strong that it's not being your passion. Because passions change. Today you're passionate about journalism. Then you go into that career and realize it is a dead career, for example. And it's not getting any money. So what do? You find now you love videography. So you've moved. So passions can change. So it's our ability to know where the line is. Cut the line, know that I need this at this moment. Make your money. Go follow your passion. But if you just be strict at all passion, it will turn into a job. And you will hate your passion. So it's the same thing. There's no line. And sometimes the people who follow passion are some of the most successful people. Because the drive is there. So it's just knowing what is my passion, how can it help me progress.
But Mahinda, can you build on that?
I agree with what Meg has said. And I like what she said. You need to find a way of commercializing your passion. Passion is what will give you the energy to wake up in the morning and go to work and go with a full heart and apply yourself to what it is that you're doing. But at the same time, with the world that we're living in, there are responsibilities. As you grow older, they become heavier responsibilities. So find a way of commercializing your passion and keep reflecting on, am I in the space where I'm supposed to be playing in? Yeah.
Okay.
And just one more thing, you need to differentiate between passion and hobby. Because if I love swimming, will I do swimming as a career? I can't swim. I love water, but it's not a career. So there's hobby, then there's passion. So I'm passionate about furniture. That can be made into a career.
Yes.
But I'm passionate about watching a movie. How is that going to help me? So you need to be
passion and hobby. Mmesikia nyinyi? Okay, so the next question, let's now differentiate between two positives. You guys have heard of this term, BYOB, be your own boss. Okay, so what are the pros, especially during the pandemic and after? Many guys got laid off, and that was the thing to go for, be your own boss. So but this time let's just talk about, we can also mention some cons, but let's talk about the two positives, being your own boss versus working under someone, being employed. What are the benefits of that? We can start with you, Bwana Peter.
I realize you frame that as two options, but one can easily lead to the other, and I'll explain why. First of all, being your own boss sounds very nice, very wonderful, but it is tougher than it sounds.
What?
Once you get into it, it is tougher than it sounds. I've done both, and Alex. But there are certain advantages. You are able to give the venture that you're pursuing your own direction. Again, the pressure is on you. Is the direction sustainable? Can you now employ others? So yes, it's not as easy as it sounds, but there are advantages to it that you are able to explore your passion. Working under someone or within employment has its advantages. Gives you an element of stability, that you have a paycheck every month. Under self-employment, you don't. That was one of my biggest shocks when I moved from employment to self-employment. And all of a sudden, at the end of the month, I'm looking at myself wondering, okay, so there's no more salary. But you get to learn from others who have more experience in that venture that you're doing. And what you're learning under employment, it's not like a cage. You view it as the lessons that you're gaining as you're employed are things you can then apply on your own when it's time to make that move. When is it time? It can be early, it can be late. That comes after a lot of prayer and reflection, and you're able to make that jump. But both of them have their own advantages, but one of them is less stable, and you have to be careful on when you actually pursue that move.
Meg, your take on that?
my take on it is the word beyond boss is so beautiful. Yeah?
Yes.
People assume that being your own boss means investing. Let's have the money. Let's do this thing. That is far from it. Being your own boss involves planning that can take up to years. That's why those who jump into an idea they had yesterday may fail. It requires sacrifice, training. You have to train yourself because now the people are relying on you. You're no longer relying on someone for salary, like he said. And you find that your story, it gets to month and you're like, okay, what next? Because you haven't supplied anything at some time. So there's nothing you're expecting. So being your own boss is, if you do find the tools and you plan properly, it will open doors you've never seen. because it also opens up your brain. Your brain is not working all the time to come up with solutions. Like you're now in the think tank of this thing. And like when you're employed, someone's already thought. They're just telling you now. So this is about thinking everything. You think it through. There's no rash decision. Now, being employed is good. Most of families, it's actually good for families with time, because now you clock out. If you leave at 4 like me, you're out. You don't even worry. Tomorrow you will come again. So there's that consistency. Month 28, 29, there's something. No matter how small, there's something. You can budget, you have something coming in. Next, you have things like health benefits. Because sometimes self-employment health benefits are a thing that come much, much later. Who could you have health benefits? Your family have a few. You have retirement benefits. So being employed has its thing. And trust me, it's not for everyone though. And like the same way, business is not for everyone. Being your own boss cannot be for everyone, because now we'll all be our own bosses. So who will we serve?
Yes.
So employment has its people. Employment has its people. You have to know where you fall. So if you like routine, things already planned, things that you know where you are at all times, that employment is free. But if you're willing to open yourself up and experience new things, you can try being your own boss.
Let me make one more comment on that. Being your own boss has its own challenges, as I mentioned, so much so that in a family setting, only one of us can be your own boss. The other one, we agreed, stay employed. So in case anything happens here, we are...
the dynamic that is now when you're married.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you don't just say, now I think I can be my own boss, and there are children looking at you there, waiting for food. Yeah. So we like in our family, it's very clear. Employment that side. Now me, I can, it's called patapotea here on this other side.
You're the patapotea.
I'm the patapotea guy.
No, but you see, with time, being your own boss has been more time for family. Once you do the opening phase, the opening phase is a bit difficult.
Yes.
Because I've run a business. They start set up, which can take years sometimes. You do not even sleep. Even as you sleep, you're thinking, did I give them this? Did we do that? And what can I do better? Then now, once it stabilizes and it's stable and you've got like a few managers in, now you create your life. You go as you wish, you work from home, you work from your car, you work on call. It becomes now better for family.
You've mentioned now family and work, and that is what I want us to go into next. I know the both of you will give me contrasting ideas, given where you stand in your families, the position that you hold in your families. So, Meg, how you as a lady, how have you been able to balance being a mother, a wife, and working and still working in the corporate sector? How have you balanced through the years?
I guess giving my personal experience, doesn't work for everyone. In our first year of marriage, we didn't really have a balance. We were career. But we saw the error of that. Because of course, if you don't hang on to the spouse, there's gaps form. Now you no longer talk much. It's just job. You find you're asking about the job.
Oh,
so our first year was a bit rough because we were both employed. And we were employed in very competitive fields. And as you know, I was employed out of the country. So that really destabilized us just a little bit. But God, in the form of COVID, came, and I had to take a seat back. Because sometimes it corrects you by moving things so that you can come back to the beginning. So we came back, and now we sat. And we are even talking about things we didn't think about before. Career, like you said, you have to decide who is working, who is businessing, who is trying new things. You can't both try new things for the stability of the people. Then, of course, we had little people join us in the work. Now it's even tougher. Things like health benefits are so important when you have kids. Because they can just, and a cough, and a check, and then they're hot, like their degree in a panda. So we were able to form gaps. So, like, for example, us, we only have one car. So what we do, because I'm the primary caregiver, which is decided, I take the car everywhere for ease of movement. If you had two cars, it would be okay. But we have car, one, I am the one that uses it. So that I can be anytime I can come.
Okay.
and then I ask for help in the home. I tell my husband to help me here, and he always helps me. In that way, I tell him I have a meeting tomorrow. I need to rest. So he knows what I mean. He'll take care of some house things, the baby stuff, so I can rest to be able to be fresh for work. Because also, if you keep doing everything yourself, you will burn out either in the home
Yes.
front or in the work front. So far, I've been so lucky, and my job is just amazing. You know, airline field is you get the right bosses and the right setup. It actually becomes very easy to maneuver. Yeah, so they let us come at certain ways. I have a few advantages. I get to leave an hour early. Just some arrangement with my boss personally. Because
Okay.
sometimes you see, they know when you're happy, you produce more. But not all bosses know that. So the part time they hold you and you're doing worse and you just let you breathe. So far I am trying. I'm not yet balanced,
Okay.
but I'm working on it every day.
And how have you kept up with the wife and 3 kids and work?
When we first started out, I was employed. We were both employed. But mine was in a very, very high pressure job, as in easily 12, 14-hour days. And you know, stress levels come in. When my daughter was born, I was outside Tanzania. I tried to come back on time, but at least just barely made it. So at that time, and for young couples, it's normally very difficult. And I completely agree with what Meg has said. It's very difficult because you're at a delicate point in your career. You're trying to build yourself. You can't take too many liberties because, again, your bosses will not be happy. But as time goes on, you then realize that you have to dedicate your time to family, because that is your number one job. Is family. Is not your day-to-day job is the tool that God gives you to provide for your number one responsibility, which is your family. And when all is said and done and your time is up on earth and you leave, what will people remember? They'll not say you are a good finance person or a good aeronautic engineer. They say left a family that's at least up on its feet or things like that. So, and this also only comes with time. So it's important to withstand the pressure that comes with balancing, especially early on. But as you go on and establish yourself, please give time to family, while at the same time safeguarding the tool that God has given you to provide for them.
Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. You want to add something?
Yes.
Please do.
You see, as a woman, sometimes you ask your husband, why do you have to do 12 hours? Who are you to these people? You know, you find yourself saying that. Did you get that question? Yes. Why you? You know, sometimes I ask myself those questions. But you see, our approach to the workplace is so different. Me, by the way, when time imeisha tu hivi, nagonga home. Kichwangu nagonga home.
Same with my wife. Not 10 more minutes.
So
Utamwona hapo.
what are we having to do? What are the kids going to do? So one of you has to be that person. One of you has to be. Una holding the setup where the other one helps. Yeah, so that is the challenge.
That's why I say thank God for the women, because at least without them, that house would collapse. Because us, we are thinking completely different sometimes.
At least I thought I was crazy.
No,
I'm
no.
not alone. I'm not alone in this. So now, lady and gentlemen, just looking at this generation and your kids, what is it that you wish for them, Meg?
Of course, as a parent, you wish only good. And I always tell my husband, remember these friends you hang out with now are your child's future connection there. And utakuwa natuma enda kwa ofisi ya so and so. So as a parent, that's the role you play. Make the right connection. Good to God to guide. Me, I was so lucky my mom was easy going. Like she gave us the tools she thought you needed. But then hakuwa anatupinga in a lot of things. So I'd like to be that kind of parent. I want to expose my kids early to literally everything out there. Let me see where they're going towards, and then we can exert our attention to that particular thing they learn. Because we forgot, even sports can be a career. Because you find a child is talented a certain way, and you bring it early, they become protégés. And now from there, you really start setting them up. Give them wisdom, give them courage, let them be able to know my words mean something. Because you know, when you last growing up, your word was nothing, you're a child. You have to be seen, but I'd like to change that with my kids. I want them to know I hear them. So that when they have an idea, they'll come to me first. Some of these ideas are so good. Of course, some is a lot of nothing. But you encourage them that every idea they have, you explore, show them that I want to hear you, and I'd like us to build it, me and you, not you and your friends. Then in that way, you also talk to them about how the world is changing. The world has changed. Things are so different. Education is no longer the key here. So teach them to find themselves early, with your guidance, of course, as a parent. I'd like my kids to know that I will always be there as a guide to questions about life, about careers, about moving forward. Because as we are going right now, if you cannot have them, if they don't have you as a backup, they will go somewhere else. And that's where the problem will come in.
Okay.
I'll just add very briefly to what Meg has said, because she's spot on that one. One is I would like to see them flourish in their schoolwork, but I'd also like them to grow in confidence, because confidence, I think, opens doors. When you have that belief in yourself and you believe in God, and you acquire a skill or skills, that combination, I think, is very important. At this point, we cannot really push them to one side or another, because, as Mega said, the world has changed. These kids are doing things on computers and in IT, things I don't even understand. I've studied IT, but when I see what they're doing now, I'm like, yeah, this is another world. So let them flourish in whatever they are doing, but let them find their passion and also grow up to be confident and responsible. Confidence, especially for my daughters. And there's a reason why I'm emphasizing confidence in daughters than the son, because when they go up there, they're shaken more by a lot of things. You go for an interview and people try and shake certain foundations that you have as a person. That only that confidence and self-belief can.
Okay, just to digress a bit, I think I had alluded to that early in the before all this, to women who are being asked for weird favors in exchange for going up the corporate ladder. What would you say to them? You have made such a huge sigh. Please, Meg.
Okay. What I've learned is how you get it is how you sustain it. That is the biggest thing someone has to remember. How you get, if your boss says, "Oh, wash my clothes," you will be my secretary. To maintain that, you don't show stuff for the rest of your life. So the way you get the job, that is the only way to keep it. So you have to decide, do I want to do this? It's a long-term plan. It does not end, because they know they can. There's nothing as bad as someone in power who has their hand around their throat. You can't move. You can't even wiggle a bit. Their hand remains, and you give them that power. So I always tell people, the Bible says that God has plans for you. Personally, He has your plans made already. So we feel the pressure from our friends. Akona job, ashabai gari. But that's not your plan. Maybe your plan is utabai gari fast after without a job. You have different plans. So when you stop competing, you don't have the pressure to bow down to these norms. That I have to sleep my way to the top. Then what? When you get to the top, you don't just say that without sleeping around there. You have to. You sustain it by how you got it. So you have to relax. Relax. The birds of they have food, yeah?
Yes.
So you relax, let God guide you. Be patient.
Okay.
Everything will come. Everything good comes to those who believe. So if you believe and you just work, even in the middle of nowhere, remember He qualifies the unqualified. Me, I've been selected for an interview where people qualified than me, even I knew they are qualified than me. I got selected, and they are left behind. Because when your time has come, God will make it work. You don't need to do this shortcut, because that is a shortcut. Yes, it will get you the job, but then what?
Okay. Bwana Mahinda, let me give you another reason to sigh even again. It's not only ladies nowadays, I hear, who are getting getting a certain position in exchange of a certain favor. What is your word to such a guy?
Well, yes, it does happen to guys also, but I think 90% is on the ladies. But I would give the same message that Meg has given to the young men out there, that nowhere in God's plan to prosper you has He included that you must do certain favors to rise. That is not within God's plan. And the moment these things cross your path, as they undoubtedly will at some, whether you're a Christian or not, you'll be interviewed by non-Christians, and these things will cross your path. But you just need to have that issue of identity and your confidence, and realizing that no one person on earth holds your fate. You can actually find other opportunities out there. But I would just let what Meg said stick with them. How you get it is how you sustain it. In fact, that I would summarize it exactly that way. Yeah.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, at some point we talked about the pandemic.
Yes.
That it made many people go back to factory settings. Okay, so Meg, tell me the lessons that you learned from that wave of the pandemic as far as work and family is concerned.
This thing was a shock to everyone because we thought it's like a month, tops. So we are at work. Kidogo, things keep escalating. And I'm in aviation. It was one of the worst hit areas. So there's no jobs anymore. So you come back home and start over. And I did start over. And God, in His infinite wisdom, actually gave me the strength for not 1 minute was I stressed. And not once did we sleep hungry because of the pandemic. And for that I am grateful because it changed people's lives. So it's never too late to start over. And you need to have backup plans. I have learned to have backup plans. So that in case anything happens, you're not shaken to your core. Even as a business, even as a person, personally, maybe, you have to the drawing board. Now, like, now what do I want to do in my life? Oh, now what next? And I was worried. I wasn't scared at any moment. But I also lucky that my husband was fully supportive. And he was like, you do whatever you want. And that actually gave me the courage to know, at least we are in this. And there's no issue. So in that way, I was able to be creative and start thinking of ways to supplement our incomes and to start thinking outside the box. And also I learned to not give up. Because I would have easily just become a housewife. Well, I give up, I'm done with careers, but I didn't. I relaxed, breathed, and then I went back out there. And to kind of
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Mahinda, your lessons from CV19.
The importance of being agile mentally. And remember, I was saying it's not about qualifications, it's about skills. Skills, you can apply them in different ways. COVID affected our business significantly, but we had to change 1 or 2 ways of how we do things to fit that particular environment. And I think that's what ended up sustaining us. Other lessons from the COVID pandemic is the value of health, your own health. When a pandemic comes in and you're told that, you're at a higher risk if you have a pre-existing condition. I have friends who started going to the gym then because they are saying, yes, I have high blood pressure, I need to start working out at that time. So that also is something that I've got to learn, that, good health is actually very important to staying healthy physically, mentally, and professionally. That's very important.
Wonderful. I would like us now to land this aircraft that is very familiar to you. A question that is a bit off from all that we have talked about, and that is in finding love. What would you recommend before or after campus?
Okay, well, there is no time. It's what you do when you meet someone that matters. Some people meet in high school. Some people meet in the neighborhood as kids. But don't do anything about it. So, for me, there's no specific time that has to be during or after. Because, if you are an introvert, you don't meet people. So as soon as you can meet someone, the better for you. So once you meet the person, what you do is what matters. Whether you met them before, after, during, later on. Some people meet their better half at 40. So it's what you do when you meet the person.
Peter?
Very interesting one. There I'm different because I think I'm old school. Okay, you've heard people say that life is like a book that has many chapters. If you're in a particular chapter, say campus, you're going to meet people. But it's important to realize what is important at that particular time is actually to ground yourself in your academics and all that, so that you can be able to stand up. If you meet someone, then fine. God is the one who dictates this, as Meg has said. But don't do anything that will derail your core agenda for that chapter. For example, you say, now I'm in love. Let me stop school because I'm in love. Because I'm told young people do that now. I will never understand that one. So don't let it derail your agenda for that chapter. Then everything in its own time. So that when these things eventually happen, you have family, you have already grounded yourself well enough.
Wonderful. You have something to say?
Yes.
Please.
What they say that I found love and quit my classes. There is no good that ever came from someone quitting because of something else. Oh, I found my passion and quit school. You're going nowhere. Even to navigate your passion, you need the education basics. There's nothing like, oh, I've hit a jackpot and stop school. That money will run out in a year. Stops. So there is never a solution to I'll stop. If you're doing something, do not stop it because of any change in circumstance around. Apart from maybe something out of your control. But you can control it, never say I'll stop education. I used to work for a company called Jobless, where people bring their CVs and employers look for people. There are some companies that tell you, we want someone in IT, for example. Or, wait, let me give a better example, finance. We want an accountant with CPK. So they give you what they want, age, gender, whatever, yeah? But they used to say something else. I want a degree and CPA, 1, 2, 3. They say a degree and they don't say what degree. Just want a degree and. So someone there looks very qualified, has everything, and just CPK, but hana degree. And that's how they're out of that stuff. So going to school, it may no longer be the key, but it's still an important stage.
Yes.
Going through campus, that interaction alone, doing the thesis, managing yourself, it's a very important step. It's not necessarily at campus, I'm saying tertiary education as a whole. It is so important. Even for business, people think that, I know I'll sell my dad, I don't need it. You do need it. You have to go through education as far as God will possibly allow you.
On that question, I have a message for the ladies. Is it okay to find love within, before, after, during, campus, whatever? If that relationship is going to derail you from what you are there to do, leave it. But if it's going to be supporting you, supplementing, and somebody encouraging you, keep it in prayer also. But finish what has taken you to school. I know I'm speaking like an old man, but it's okay.
No, it's the reality.
We need that
It's
wisdom.
the reality. Like, when I said I have met a person, the first thing person do ask you, how do you?
Yes.
For your success,
Yes.
how do you know?
Yes.
So even if you can tell this campus people from that moment to ask themselves, how do I know? Maybe you'd have a better understanding of relationships. So just tell everyone, ask yourself, how do you know? If you don't know, clearly, it's a wrong thing right there.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen from Kenya, Africa, and around the world, that was a very healthy discussion that we had here today with Bwana Peter and Meg concerning how young guys, mostly between from the age of 24 onwards, who have just finished campus or vocational training and they're now in the corporate world, how exactly are they supposed to navigate that? We have had the answers from our very able panel. Please watch this on the replay and get these nuggets of wisdom that we've had here today. Then today's discussion, by the way, has been sort of a prelude to what we're going to have tomorrow. By the way, Bwana Mahinda, your wife Roslyn, is going to be handling another session tomorrow on how to build a successful career, and that will be happening here in person at House of Transformation Nairobi. So if you're within Nairobi City, please make sure that you come to House of Transformation for that session. It's going to start at 1 p.m. There's going to be a very wonderful panel professionals, and it's free, by the way. And these guys charge a lot of money in the corporate sector to give the training that they're going to give us tomorrow. But for today, we've had such a wonderful discussion on matters to do with the corporate world and how young people can navigate it. So once again, Bwana Peter and Meg, thank you so much for joining us. Well, and until next time, I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thanks for watching.